Policy Committee to order. Today is Thursday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. It is 1:05. We have 3 bills before us today, members. We'll try to keep each one to about 30 minutes so we can stay within our time. Our first bill in front of us is Senate File 3818. Senator Coleman, welcome to the committee, and I believe you have an author's delete all amendment. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I do.
All right. The chair will move the A1 delete all amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Amendment is adopted. Senator Coleman, to your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members. I'm so excited to present the Skills Path standing for Training in High School for Skilled Careers bill before you today. This bill creates a special designation for programs that provide students with clear pathways from high school to careers in skilled work and the trades. The Skills Path designation will highlight career pathways for students to enter post-secondary programs and apprenticeship training in high school and launch them into great careers in industry and the trades. High school students interested in skilled careers can access information about Skills Path education and training programs that utilize career-connected learning, career and technical education, dual college credit, pre-apprenticeship programs, and other strategies to launch students on paths to apprenticeships and jobs in skilled industries and the trades. Skills Path programs will combine existing high school programs like career and technical education and youth skills training with post-secondary enrollment, PSEO, and lead to apprenticeships and jobs. Students will be able to earn college credits while they are completing high school and also have the opportunity for on-the-job training and employment. Minnesota Department of Education, Office of Higher Education, and Minnesota Department of Labor will establish an application for programs to be designated as Skills Path. Grant funding will help incentivize the development of programs, and scholarship funds will be available to help students with the cost of materials and equipment. Skills Path designation will be a strong marketing tool to help high school students understand their career pathways in the trades, which will have long-term effects in expanding Minnesota's skilled workforce and growing economy. I would like to note that we are working with the department to help the scholarship and grant component continue to be a work in progress as we polish that. We've been talking to the Office of Higher Education on ways to improve this concept and are working with them to refine the language before it hits its next stop in K through 12. And I do have a number of testifiers, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Coleman. First, we'll go to Ms. Wallstein, and on deck will be Dr. Schmidt. Ms. Wallstein, please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about the Skills Path bill today. My name is Amy Wallstein. I'm the Director of Education Policy and Workforce Development for the Minnesota Business Partnership. We're a trade association representing the 115 CEOs and senior leaders of Minnesota's largest employers. And we focus on policy that ensures Minnesota students are well prepared for careers in the global economy. And we believe that one of the best strategies to expand Minnesota's skilled workforce is for employers to partner with education providers to strengthen programs focused on helping students and job seekers. Minnesota Business Partnership, the Minnesota Chamber, and Minnesota Precision Manufacturing Association, who's also here today, we're pleased to participate in the Senate Higher Education Committee Workforce Partnership Tour in the fall of 2019, which visited many of your communities. We heard a similar message in every community that we visited. Building a skilled workforce must start early. It must start in high school. And there are many initiatives that are doing this work, and Skills Path builds on and combines those initiatives into clearly defined career pathways. The Skills Path designation that is being proposed in this bill will bring the pieces together to define career pathways in skilled industries. Students who love history know that AP history classes in high school help them acquire college credits and accelerate their history major. But students who love woodworking have access to career and technical education courses, CTE courses, but it's not always clear what comes next. And there are employers who are looking for those students who love woodworking and other skilled industries to join their dual training and apprenticeship programs and help them launch amazing careers. So one of the key things about this proposal is that there are many options for students. And what this designation will do will empower high schools and post-secondary programs to work more closely together to help students understand what a manufacturing skills pathway is or an EMT skills pathway is, and help the students afford related costs of those programs. Many school districts, like the one we'll hear from next, already have begun this work or are well underway with this work to help students prepare. And there's so much more that we can do, and we believe that a skills path designation and this collaboration will help truly bring all the pieces together. So with that, we'd like to introduce Dr. Noel Schmidt from Rockridge Public Schools. I met Dr. Schmidt during the Workforce Partnerships Tour that I mentioned earlier. The partnerships in his area between secondary schools, community colleges, and employers are stellar. And we asked him here today to talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Dr. Schmidt online, and on deck will be Mr. Kalina. Dr. Schmidt, please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
All right, thank you very much, members of the Senate Higher Ed Finance and Policy. Sorry I could not be with you. I'm up in northern Minnesota, so we have school going on. So here's what I know about the Career Academy. This is a big deal all over the state and with the careers and the skills. So I'm absolutely 100% in support of Senator Coleman's proposal here. What's happened up here is we had a consolidations. That's not important, relevant to what you're talking about. We're building a high school based on career academies. And I've been in education for a long time. The whole career academy, the idea of talking to businesses, trying to have kids have earlier contact with careers. I have never seen any school reform or any improvement to school thing take off like this has. And I've worked in the metro, so I understand this is an issue, metro, rural. It's not just, it's everywhere. And so, for example, up here, we're building a new high school, but it's based on the career academies. We have 3 career academies. One is primarily manufacturing technology, which would be right down the middle of the skills path. Another one is health sciences and tech. Another one is business management, communications, information. So the general gist of what we're doing is to create a system where our high school kids can make smarter decisions about what they want to do after high school. We know we're not necessarily specifically training kids for certain jobs in high school, but we can give them a pretty good idea about which cluster, which area will make sense to them. And I've talked to many business groups, I've talked to many different parent groups, and I am telling you, they get this within 4 minutes. I start talking about this and they get it. And all I have to do is start talking about this, and you know someone like this, about someone who thought they wanted to do something after high school. They went to a college or university somewhere, and then after their sophomore year, they just found out this wasn't for them. And so they switch majors. And so they find themselves $20,000 in debt and no marketable skills. I can just look at a crowd of parents and you can just see heads starting to nod. This resonates like crazy. And we've all been in the back of classrooms where we're going, when am I ever going to use this? Why am I sitting here? So part of this is to make high school more relevant and useful, but also to give kids more access to people in the field. So for example, here's what's happening up here. So we're designing the building, so there'll be a lot more work, small groups, work area, project-based learning areas for kids can mingle and work together. But the real part is talking to business people in the area. So if we have kids who want to be carpenters, tradespeople, I'll give you a perfect example. We're building a new high school. We had a number of our high school kids, they built one of our storage sheds. We had workers from the construction site work with them almost daily. And the construction crews loved it because they're looking for workers just like everybody else. We had the OSHA rep who was great. He came and inspected the building just like anybody else. So our kids found out what's going on with OSHA. And when all is done, we've got the storage building is done. The kids built it, but the adults were there. We can't do that in a regular high school. If we're running a traditional high school that we've all known since for years and years and years. So that's an example of what we're doing here. And so, for example, we're setting up partners with Essentia. That's a local, our big hospital in the area. So they're going to work with our teachers on curriculum. So kids who are in the healthcare academy, the teachers can change what they're doing. So if we have an English teacher in the healthcare academy, they can change what kids are reading and writing to give an idea about some of the written materials that occur in the healthcare academy. And that's directly with the skills that we're talking about here, because hospitals, they can't find these workers. And the disconnect is we have kids who think there's no jobs, but they're all over the place. Even where I am in rural Minnesota, kids who want to be, you name it, those jobs are here. They're everywhere. And so the key advantage to this, why I'm really in support of this, is that the high schools are changing. So whether higher ed gets involved or not, the high schools on their own are shifting. And the parents are getting it, the local business people are getting it, so we're shifting. So what we need is partnerships. So when our kids are in the system, I'm envisioning a system where we have higher ed coming into schools, working with our teachers and working with our kids. So as kids have much more, it's a smoother flow all the way from high school into the higher ed, whether it be 1, 2 year or certification type program. Because I talk all over the place here to the businesses and they love this. I think I can truly say they love this. And so it's all plus plus from my point of view. It's all plus plus for the kids' point of view because they get a much better idea. And one of the good things coming from this, it also helps kids know what they don't want to do. This is important when you're dealing with kids who are 16, 17, 18. Why should a kid go through a program or go halfway through a program and then discover it's not for them? We can figure this out. And so if kids tell us when they're juniors and seniors, hey, I had some kind of contact with this profession. I thought I wanted to be a mason. I did that. No, that's not what I want to do. I really want to do this. I want to go to the healthcare. I think more like a lab technician. That's what, perfect. That's what you want them to do. So the high school scene is changing. We have more schools who are doing this. We're probably just one of the few that's going all in, and it's working. And so I'm fully in support of what Senator Coleman's proposal is.
Thank you, Doctor. We have a question for you from Senator Clausen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Dr. Schmidt, for that great presentation. That's pretty exciting, building a new high school. And I better turn this off. Shoot. There we go. A question that I have, are these going to be a dual credit programs that are going to be run in your building and taught by your teachers?
Dr. Schmidt.
Sure. The answer to your question is that I believe it can go both ways. I know turf is important and people protect turf, but when I'm looking at the kids and we're looking at what the kids need, I think both higher ed has to bend a little and we in the high schools have to bend also. So the kids don't care where the instructor comes from. They really don't. So I can absolutely see where some of this is PSEO. I can see some of this is others where maybe instructors are coming to us or we're sending kids to them. I think it can go both ways.
Follow up, Senator Clausen.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Do you have any concerns about the Higher Education Commission's certification issues?
Dr. Schmidt.
No, I don't, but I think the issues of certification is going to become important because as we go into the skills path, the way the certification criteria is set up, it is extremely difficult to find these people.
Right.
And there are so few higher ed places where our teachers can go to get this, or any wannabe teachers to go. It creates a bottleneck. And so we're okay with the certifications, but we need more areas who are doing that, if that makes sense.
Thank
Very
you.
good, Senator Clausen. All right. Thank you, Dr. Schmidt. Next, we have Mr. Kalina. On deck, Mr. Lundeen. Mr. Kalina, please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Steve Kalina. I'm with the Minnesota Precision Manufacturing Association, a trade association of hundreds of manufacturers around the state, and I am a lifelong manufacturer myself. So, today kids get a chance to, open up their computers every day and get a feel for what an IT career might look like. Drive into the auto shop with their parents, see what it's like to be a mechanic. Go to the zoo, see what it's like to kind of become a biologist, turn on their TV and see what it's like to be a doctor, lawyer, police officer. Fast food still has the opportunity to hire young people at $13 to $14 an hour when there's a manufacturer down the street that can't hire those same young people at $20 an hour with benefits and great career paths. Parents are still struggling to support putting their kids into trades, career paths. Counselors and teachers who are four-year degree individuals themselves aren't necessarily familiar with those trades paths. And even the governor, if you look at the scholarship, the $100,000 scholarship for the vaccinations, it was still geared towards the four-year degree mentality. So even though we've made headway, a lot of those conversations are still geared towards four-year degrees. And what we're talking about today isn't so much the button-pushing assembly line type jobs. Those jobs still exist in America. There's still great opportunities for stepping stones to higher career paths. But what we're really talking about are the high-skilled, high-paying, great career paths such as machining and fabrication, programmers, tool makers that have just great career opportunities. And those are very intelligent, very skilled people. If you look at the tech schools today, most of them have an average age of in the mid-20s. And why is that? And as Dr. Schmidt alluded to, these kids change their minds, right? They come out of school and they're picking what's familiar, what's encouraged. And so it often takes years for them to figure out that maybe that wasn't the right path. And as Dr. Schmidt mentioned, there's unfortunately a financial burden to making those choices later in life. And so it's important that those kids get the opportunity to see those opportunities and get that exposure at a younger age. And as Ms. Wallstein and Dr. Schmidt mentioned, some of the opportunities within and coming out of high school with PSEO, YST, workforce development scholarships, pipeline, employer funding. A student can get a 2-year degree in a trade for free in the end. And so when you have kids that are still choosing the hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt in things that they're maybe not excited about, and we can't even get them to open their eyes to those opportunities where, again, it could be a free opportunity for a great career path. And today, as Ms. Wallstein mentioned, really labor is still the #1 priority for manufacturers. I talk to manufacturers every day. We've got a defense contractor in the northwest suburbs of 70 employees that still has 36 openings. A company in the West Metro that supplies most of the shops in the country that has 30 open positions. A medical device machine shop in Minneapolis that's turning away work for the first time in their history. Shops are indeed innovating. They're finding ways to do things more with less labor. But the problem is there's still a shortage and there's still an age gap. We still have a lot of our highest skilled people in their mid-50s that are going to be retiring in a few years. We don't have the people to backfill for them. And even if you found the people today, it's going to take years to get them to that skill level. So we're talking about a matter of time here. It's not just a matter of finding people. It's a matter of getting them skilled faster. And so the faster we can get them engaged at a young age and get them exposed and help them choose those career paths, the faster we can get them to that skill level that we need to backfill in shops that are producing the life-saving devices that we use, the defense systems that we need, or just everyday products. One of the things MPMA, our association, has done is we created a skilled academy a couple of years ago, and really what we're focusing on is putting more of the onus on the industry itself. So what you'll find as you talk to manufacturers is that we're willing to have a skin in the game. We're not here looking for handouts and for the government to figure everything out for us. We're willing to take the reins and get things done. but we need support. And so these manufacturers, and I think if you talk to Commissioner Grove, he'll say, 80% of the manufacturers in Minnesota are 50 employees or less. So we're not talking about the big players that have a lot of resources. We're talking about small family-owned machine shops that they need help. They want to partner with the local high school. They want to get involved in programs like Dr. Schmidt's. Those are amazing programs, but we need to help them figure out the bridge of that gap. So when you have some of these great programs that DEED and Department of Labor put out, a lot of these small companies don't know how to engage with them, and also the students don't know how to engage with them. So that's really, to me, what this bill is all about, is helping bridge those gaps of great programs and great businesses and industries that we have in Minnesota, but we need to help connect them so that they can be successful and implement or impact as many students as possible. So next, I just want to quick introduce one of our members that'll be the next testifier, but Evan Lundeen is the CEO and owner of CNC Metalcraft business in Champlin, great company, and he'll tell you a little bit about himself, but not only does he have the perspective of an owner in the industry, but as you can see, and he can share his age, but he's one of the youngest business owners that I know. And so it's pretty cool that he has the not only the perspective of the owner, but also as a young person who's just gone through kind of the high school experience, and not a little more recent than the rest of us. But so I'm excited to hear what Evan has to share. So I will hand it off to him.
Thank you very much for your testimony. On deck, we'll have Mr. Magana, but next we have Mr. Lundeen. Please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Thank you, Chair. Committee members, my name is Evan Lundeen. I'm the CEO of CNC Metalcraft, as Steve alluded to. We are in Champlin, Minnesota. We manufacture architectural sheet metal panels for the commercial construction industry. And the biggest issue CNC has been facing in the last 5 years has been labor shortages. Essentially, so machining and manufacturing, it's majority of baby boomer era. And as we've seen in our workforce, as our baby boomers are starting to retire, we're looking to fill these positions and roles, and we can't find any help anywhere. The two places we've seen luck is you hire another baby boomer, and there's consequences of that it's very short term, and prices are, they're at their 10 years, so you're paying premium prices for that. Or B, what we've seen is a lot of 4-year degree holders that typically can't find jobs in their field of study that are somewhat getting interested in the machining role because they see, when we advertise on Indeed, wow, this job pays a lot. So they ended up, I'm thinking of our workforce, we got 2 guys that have, one has a liberal arts degree and one has an English degree. They couldn't find work, and they saw how much we were paying, and they came in, interviewed, and they've been with us for a number of years. And they kind of brought up the same point as what I dealt with in my personal career and life, is they said they had no idea that you could make decent money and a good career in the machining and manufacturing industry. So I graduated from Cambridge High School not that long ago, 2015. And as you go through your high school career, your counselor, you kind of lean on them for guidance on what your, career path is going to be. And in beginning of high school stages, you don't really know. So you really rely on them a lot. Well, when I sat down with my counselor, she plopped down a bunch of pamphlets and booklets and said, which college do you want to go to? It was never, maybe you should look at a trades role or anything in machining and manufacturing. And that's even with my family history. My grandfather owned a machining company, and then my dad owned one too. So I have a background in the industry, and I still was coerced into going to college and getting a 4-year degree, it seemed like. So in terms of this skill path program, I'm all in favor of it. I think it will be great to bridge the gap between us as a manufacturer and high schools, and just getting the word out there that, there's a lot of positions open and they pay really well, and it's a great career path. So thank you, Chair. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you very much. I do have one question. I've talked with a number of manufacturers around my area. Can you help us understand and talk to the point? I know when I was younger, and many of the baby boomers, they would gobble up overtime if it was available. What are you finding today when you have these workloads? Is overtime something today's workers are looking at, or what happens that?
Thank you, Chair. As a manufacturer, just at a cost standpoint, we try to limit overtime, but the the labor has been so short, we can't even find anybody to do a second shift. So what we end up having to do is we lately have been paying up to 30 hours of overtime for some guys, for our CNC machine operators, just because we cannot find anybody else to run the machines.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Jazinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo. So we have a company, MRG Tool and Die. I think you've probably all heard of, is down in southern Minnesota. And this is something I've been hearing from them forever to get people in. So I think this is a great thing, great program to make sure they get that in, because it's the same thing. They're struggling for people. And if you tour the facility, it's amazing what they do there. So I think this is a great bill. It'll help that out. And I know it's greatly needed. So thank you very much, both of you, for testifying on this.
Yeah, thank you for your testimony. We'll move on to our final testifier, Mr. Magana. Please, I believe he's online. Please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Yes, Joseph Magana with Americans for Prosperity, speaking on behalf of Americans for Prosperity, Minnesota. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee for the opportunity to submit today. I'm submitting testimony again on behalf of Americans for Prosperity, Minnesota. AFP Minnesota is pleased to support SF 3818, establishing the Youth Skills Path program, and we thank the sponsor and co-sponsors for bringing forward this legislation. The Skills Path program allows students to engage in employment-based training during high school, providing students with clear pathways from high school to fulfilling careers in skilled work, trades, and other employment opportunities. We believe that students should have the ability to earn credits and learn outside of the classroom in ways that meet their unique learning needs and advance their personal and professional aspirations. These types of flexible learning pathways provide students both the opportunity to learn from experts in the field and allow for students to explore their own interests. The program is also of value to Minnesota's business owners and entrepreneurs, some of which you've already heard from, affording them the opportunity to engage with educators and students outside of traditional education environments. Through this program, Minnesota's job creators can get a head start on equipping the next generation of Minnesota's vital workforce. Existing literature on these types of programs indicates that they are successful at increasing post-secondary employment, earnings, and other indicators of success after graduation. In the last few decades, we have seen many states reinvesting in career and technical education programs for high school students. AFP Minnesota believes that customizable student-centered education programs just work better than one-size-fits-all learning environments. Individualized learning pathways provide the best opportunity for success in educating Minnesota students. The Youth Skill Path program is a great step toward making these types of learning opportunities a reality for students across the North Star State. It is for these reasons that we ask you to your favorable recommendation of SF 3818. And I'll just say on a personal note, I'm actually speaking to you today from Oklahoma City. We have some great technical vocational schools up here. I really implore you to do this. It's worked wonders for us. And I will just say too, I love my job and what I do in the policy world, but if I had to do it all over again, if I had the opportunity to kind of do some of these things in high school and work with my hands, I think I'd be working in a trade right now. They're great jobs, and I would have loved to have that opportunity. So with that, I'll yield for any questions, but appreciate your support.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Members, are there any questions or comments anyone would like to make? Senator Clausen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This isn't pertaining to our most presenter, but I'm looking at eligible student in the bill, and we're including non-public school students and homeschool students. And we're also making an allocation, a state allocation. Can legal counsel give us maybe an opinion on that?
Ms. White?
Mr. Members, may I have 1 minute to check
Sure.
on something? Thank you.
It's on the
Yeah, yeah,
definition.
I
You got
have.
it? Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a similar question, I think, with subdivision 6. You know, there's a list of the potential occupations that could be involved. Then subdivision 6 talks about exemptions for hazardous employment-based operation equipment. You know, in St. Cloud, I've been working a lot with some of our local construction folks who are trying to think of different ways to get young people into construction. Construction is not listed as one of the potential occupations up here in the list of potential programs. But it does seem like something would potentially benefit from that, except there are lots of other issues involved in that. So it's not explicitly excluded in the list of potential youth skill path programs. Could you just talk a little bit about how that works? Because there's federal labor laws too that would influence how that can manifest.
Senator Coleman, do you want to
Yeah.
take this one?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator, for the question. The construction is included in the amendment. And there's a couple other trades that have reached out asking for to be explicitly listed in a future amendment that'll be coming as we work our way to K through 12. So open to other suggestions and ideas as well. I don't know if Ms. Wallstein wants to touch on that at all as far as how that works if you're not listed directly in the bill.
Ms. Wallstein.
Mr. Chair and Senator Putnam, there is what happens with bills. If people start to read them, they start to realize that this is, something that could be beneficial for their industries. So I think Senator Coleman's heard from some additional industries who'd like to be explicitly named. And then I'll note that in the DE, the section you referred to about labor exemptions, we took that piece out in the DE because there's an existing youth skills training program that's overseen by the Department of Labor, and they students who participate in youth skills training are overseen by Department of Labor, and they fall within applicable state and federal exemptions for student learners. There's a very specific exemption for student learners. They can't do hazardous things on a job site, but there's other ways that they can engage as a learner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for that. And I actually didn't read the delete all portion of that, obviously, so I was just saying that to distract us so that Joan would have some time to look up what she needed to look. And thank you.
Thank you, Senator Putnam, and I'll also expand on that a little bit. I know back I had helped Ms. Wallstein with the youth skills portion a few years ago, and there are a number of us working to try to expand the ability for 16 and 17-year-olds to be able to work on construction sites. We're working with some of the trades and we're working with the Department of Labor. The states all around us have provisions with limitations, and we're trying to get there for Minnesota as well, because I was going to make in my closing comments, coming from the construction world myself, we hear the same things that our testifiers said over and over. How do we find kids that are 16 and 17-year-olds who aren't aware of these opportunities, expose them to it, help them find their way, and maybe they will determine this is not what I want to do and they go somewhere else, but maybe they determine that I love it and they can make a great career and they don't end up getting into debt and taking an education for something else. So I really appreciate this bill, Senator Coleman, and completely support it. And Ms. White, are you prepared to answer the other question?
Mr. Chair and members, and Senator Clausen, the definition of eligible student deals with in high school. I'm digging around in the statutes in 124D trying to determine if that term is defined anywhere else in 124D and includes non-public school student or homeschool student. I can't find it. I apologize, but I think this is a question for the next committee, the Education Committee. I tried to find some information, but I don't know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we can just note that as we go forward. So thank you.
All right, members, any other questions? Seeing none, Senator Coleman. Coleman, closing comments.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to start by thanking you for co-authoring this bill, and a special thank you to Senator Tomassoni for his support on this bill as well. I would like to thank my testifiers as well as Ms. Wallstein for all of their incredible hard work getting this draft before you today, which, Senator Clausen, we will work to get the answer to your question as it moves on to K through 12. The Skilled Path program will help education and training institutions partner with business, industry, and trades to help students prepare for skilled careers. And in today's day and age, today's economy, and today's workforce shortages, this is needed. So I greatly appreciate the time and the support.
Thank you very much. Senator Jasinski, would you move that Senate File 3818 as amended be recommended to pass and referred to Education, Finance, and Policy Committee?
So move, Mr. Chair.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
No?
All right, the motion passes. You are on your way to Education, Finance, and Policy.
Thank you.
Senator
I
Clausen.
just want to raise a point. I voted no because I think there's still some unanswered questions that are pretty relevant to the bill.
All right, thank you, Senator Clausen.
Thank you all.
All right. Next up, we have Senate File 3001, Senator Putnam. Senator Putnam, to your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members, and a special thank you to Senator Tomasoni at home and Senator Rarick for giving us the opportunity to talk about this bill. One of the great things about this committee, not only because we are the best committee in the Senate, clearly, the hardest working and clearly the best looking as well, committee in the Senate, is the general approach that we've taken to the question of post-secondary education this year and prior year as well. I've been proud to be associated with all of you, as when we talk about post-secondary education, it's not simply about numbers, it's about the quality of life of the student. It's about the student's ability not just to survive school, but to thrive in it, to be focused on what's best. The post-secondary education is the key to social mobility in many, many ways, whether that's a certificate, a 2-year or a 4-year program. And in our conversations this year and the prior year, we've always focused on those kinds of concerns. It's the best way to make people successful, to increase their opportunity. And that's what this bill represents, is an opportunity to look at the complications and the difficulties that are facing today's post-secondary students and to give them the resources to improve their own opportunities and to do better in their own lives. And so today we have a bill with multiple parts. And those parts all are focused on that one main concern: making education not just more accessible, but making students have better opportunities to be successful. So I'll just quickly talk through some of the sections in the bill. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I need to move the A2 amendment if I could, please.
Sorry.
I was supposed to do that first, wasn't I?
Well, no, I was going to let you get into the explanation, but yes, before we go to testifiers, we will have you move your amendment.
I'll just talk through the bill just briefly if I could first before I do that, then if that's all right. The bill has a number of provisions. The first is one that will no longer count in a few moments. The second deals with the living allowance that we provide for students. The second is about the state grant program and the move from 8 to 10 semesters, which is also very important because of the struggles that many of our students are having these days. And 4 and 5 modified provisions associated with developmental education. And to be candid, this was the area that I was most compelled by when this bill was first brought to me. I was talking to a friend of mine in St. Cloud, an East African man, last year. And he was telling me about how he went to St. Cloud Community Technical College and he was automatically put in remedial classes. They call them remedial. We should call them developmental. And that's one of the things this bill does. Automatically put in classes like that. And his biggest issue was that English was not his first language. So he ended up having to take classes that weren't credit bearing. And he spent his loan money on these developmental ed classes when he didn't need to. And he could have spent that money on his degree. He ended up not being able to finish his degree because he'd spent all these resources on courses that didn't count for credit. So when this bill was brought to me, I thought about that individual and I thought about that issue. And that's the thing that really excited me about this bill, although the other provisions are equally important. And so what we have here is sections 4 and 5 deal with that. And section 4 says that if you do really well on a standardized test, the school has to tell you that you might not have to take developmental education. Section 5, which is something that I've mentioned to Min-State faculty and administrators and college counselors, they're really excited about this, is that you have to use multiple data points in order to require someone to take developmental education. You take the Accuplacer test, but also look at someone's grades, the best sign of someone's potential for success. Also look at their SAT or ACT scores. Just look at more than one piece of information when you're making a decision that's important to someone's life. The rest of the bill, section 6, is a report on the work study program. Asks OHE to do some diagnostic work to figure out how well that's actually serving our students. Section 7 are about challenge grants. We all know how intimidating any bureaucracy can be. These challenge grants are opportunities for institutions to invest in people to help others navigate the difficulties of bureaucracy and the challenges that come in post-secondary institutions. So sort of as a wide swath, sort of very high level, those are the provisions of the bill. Our friends here today are going to talk through them in much greater depth than I ever could. But I do want to underscore once again that the reason why I'm so proud to offer this bill here today is because it is so consistent with the character of this committee, with our concern for access, for opportunity, and for the health of the individual post-secondary student. This bill is an opportunity to help increase those opportunities and make being in school less hard on people, which I think we all know is very important. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move the A2 amendment, please.
Very good. Members, we have the author's A2 amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is adopted. Are you ready to go to your testifiers and Senator Putnam?
I am, Mr. Chair, please.
Very good. First up, we have Dr. Corey, and on deck, Dr. Peterson. Dr. Corey, are you, very good. Please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Chair Rarick and members of the committee, my name is Dr. Bruce Corey, Professor of Economics at Concordia University, and speak in support of Senate File 3001. Thank you for this hearing this bill and the opportunity to testify. First, I want to express my deep appreciation to Senator Tomassoni for taking the time last fall to join student leaders on campus at Concordia University as they shared their experience with the state grant program. One of the students testified, who's testified was Devaris Cheeks, and he testified at this committee recently. This experience of student engagement with policymakers is life-changing for them as they experience firsthand that they can change the path for their future. I also want to thank Chair Rarick for the friendly environment the students experienced as they testified, some for the first time in their life. This is Minnesota at its best, so thank you. I have over 30 years of experience in higher education, including being an evaluator and mentor of programs globally. In this experience, I've identified 4 pillars for first-time and underrepresented student success. And these are affordable education, multi-tiered support systems, culturally intelligent learning environment, and shared governance with a focus on disaggregated metrics on graduation rates. I do hope at the end of this legislative session, you make meaningful investments in all these areas. You are stewards of $1.5 trillion portfolio of Alana African, Latino, Asian, Native American student talent. This number is an estimate of the value of the lifetime earning if every Alana student achieved a 4-year degree. There are about 60,000 Alana undergraduate students, and they invest annually around $1 billion of their own money for their education, both in tuition costs, as well as spending in the local economy on housing and food. They are a strong presence among essential workers. I know this for a fact because I have these students in my classes and see how they juggle life, study, and work, and some of whom lived in their cars. You may also be aware of the Corey plaintiff plan that was considered by the special panel on redistricting and integrated into the new legislative districts. The court's final order documented the role of the Corey plaintiff's recommendation to provide adequate representation to the economic and political interests of the Alana communities. Our legal intervention made the case that we need a strong political representation of the $1.4 trillion ethnic economy of Minnesota that has significant presence currently in 125 legislative districts in Minnesota. If proper investments are made, our GDP will increase by $287 billion over the longer term. And specifically in this bill, I want to focus on the support for the multi-tiered student support services, especially around mental health and on affordable education. I suggest that the legislature invest at least 10% of the estimated $1 billion investment that Alana students are actually placing on their own investments every year. And this might go a long way in their success. As Senator Putnam was sharing about English language learner, I remember my experience in grad school where I had a fellow peer from Thailand, and he could not speak English well, and people tended to disregard him. And one day, as the professor was trying to sort out an economic mathematical equation, the professor was stuck. And this guy just got up from the back of the class, boom, 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 and he solved it for him. So we have talent in our midst, even though we might not necessarily experience it. A recent report of Deed shows vast economic sectors in Minnesota facing with an aging population, and where the fast-growing Alana BIPOC youth offer a steady pool of homegrown talent, especially you heard it in the last testifiers. You can change the trajectory of our tight labor market and push more students out into the workforce to addressing the most significant barriers to graduation in Minnesota. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Next up, we have Dr. Peterson, and on deck, Ms. Rozelski. Dr. Peterson, please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Greetings and thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members of the committee. I also want to thank Senator Tomassoni. My name is Leotawa Dr. Robert John Peterson, and it's my pleasure to be here before you today to speak in support of Senate File 3001 as authored by Senator Putnam. I support each aspect and proposal in this bill. I want to talk more specifically about Section 7, challenge grants for increasing degree completion and appropriation. Most of my career was in K-12. I was a teacher, a mentor, a football coach, a basketball coach, assistant principal, and executive administrator in 3 different districts, one of which was St. Paul Public Schools. We had a very woeful graduation rate when I was in St. Paul Public Schools. And one of the core features of that was the fact that so many students were behind in credits. They were not graduating with the credits requisite to get a high school diploma. And so one of the things that we did in my time in St. Paul is we co-located our ALC credit recovery at the St. Paul College campus. And by doing that, in partnership with then Chancellor Rosenstone and Superintendent Silva, we were able to see opportunities to innovate around the relationship between students, counselors, and navigators. And what we did is we created a program called Operation Graduation. At the time that I started in St. Paul, the graduation rate for the summer graduation, because there's 2 graduations in LEAs, one in the spring and one in August, was 45%. Under the Operation Graduation Initiative, what we did was we picked the best of our best counselors from the high schools, places like Washington Technology Magnet, Harding High School, Humboldt High School, and we paired them with 2 to 3 community navigators who would work in conjunction as a team to help get students to go to their credit recovery courses in the summertime. We did that for 3 consecutive years, and we saw the graduation rate for summer increase by 28 percentage points. It went almost from 45% to 70% in the course of 3 years. The navigators would go to students' homes. They would go to their work sites. They would go anywhere in the community they needed to and connect them with the counselor and provide them with the resources like mental health supports, in some cases, food shelf options, so that students could have the basics met so that they could go to school, get their credits recovered, and move on to a 2-year degree. And many of those students went on to St. Paul College that graduated. I think pairing this with something similar in higher education could be helpful as an innovative pilot program as administered by the Office of Higher Education. The bill speaks specifically to Minnesota State and does not include any of the private colleges and universities, nor the University of Minnesota at this time. We would request that the committee consider appropriating an amount as determined by the chair and by the committee to help support this type of innovation. We did focus a little bit on student transfer. We know that we are bleeding out many students in the student transfer process. They either earn too many credits through transfer, or they don't earn enough credits. In some cases, they earn credits that don't count toward the degree, like in developmental education. I feel firmly that this innovative piloted opportunity could be an opportunity for us to provide more access equally for all students to earn a 2-year degree, in particular a 2-year degree, but also potentially a 4-year degree. Thank you. I appreciate your time, Mr. Chair. We'll take any questions if you have any from the committee.
Thank you very much for your testimony. We will move to our next testifier, Ms. Rozelski, and on deck, do we have Mr. Jackson? I'll see if he's online. Ms. Rozelski, please identify yourself for the record and you can begin your testimony.
Hi, thank you, Chair. My name is Megan Rozelski, and I'm a board member of the Minnesota Education Equity Partnership and the Director of Research at the Minnesota Private College Council. Thank you for the chance to testify today. Section 6 of Senate File 3001 requires the Minnesota Office of Higher Education to conduct a study and report on how the state of Minnesota's work-study program could be expanded to better meet the needs of students. Research shows that work-study improves college retention and graduation rates. It helps students cover college costs and earn valuable work experience. The allocation for state work-study has been flat at $29 million per biennium since 2012-13. During that time, there have been changes to federal and state minimum wage laws and increases in college tuition and living costs for students. This study will include an assessment of the interplay between federal, state, and institutional work-study funds, the impact of minimum wage laws on the program, and research into the optimal number of hours students should be working. It also asks for options on how to expand the state work-study program and what the fiscal impact of those options would be. I believe an analysis and report on the state of Minnesota's work-study program will give us important insights into how well the program is currently meeting the needs of college students and how it could be changed and improved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your testimony. It is my understanding that Mr. Jackson was unable to attend and the video is not working, but members, there is a letter in your packet from him in support. So members, are there any questions for Senator Putnam or any of the testifiers? Evidently, you guys did a great job of explaining to us, so we appreciate that. Senator Putnam, any closing comments you would like to make on the bill?
Well, again, I just want to thank members and Chair Rarick and Senator Tomassoni, not just for your engagement on this bill, but for our consistent care for the young people in Minnesota. It's hard to be a young person these days, and there are lots of hurdles all over the place. And a bill like this is a way of lowering some of those hurdles to help people get over them and to get to the opportunities that are waiting for them at the end. So thank you again for this opportunity to talk about this. Thank you also to Dr. Peterson and Dr. Corey and Megan for taking their time to share their wisdom with us about a very pressing and important question. Thanks again.
Thank you, Senator Putnam. And Senate File 3001 will be laid over for possible inclusion. And Senator Putnam, I promise I will not tell Chair Pratt what your comments were about this committee. All right, the final bill we have before us today is Senate File 3714. And this is my bill. I'm just going to tee it up. This is one I believe the advocates can speak to it far better than I can. And I know members, there were several, I will make the comment, there were several other senators who wish to join in on support of this bill. Unfortunately, in the Senate, we only get 5 spots on the bill, but I know Senator Putnam had reached out and there were some others as well. So this does have quite a bit of support. With that, Mr. Spies, do you wish to testify first and then start handing it off to other of your testifiers?
Mr. Chair and members, I'd ask that Latia Childers testify first, followed by Francisco and then Elvira.
All right, I believe I have that order. I just wanted to check in case you wanted to start off, but Ms. Childers, we will begin with you. Please identify yourself for the record and you can begin your testimony.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Latia Childers, and I have completed my preparation to become a K-12 dance teacher through Minnesota State University, Mankato, and now hold a teaching position in Minneapolis Public Schools instructing dance. I became a teacher because it was the best way I could advocate and share my passion for dance. Being dyslexic, I use dance to conceptualize the world around me. Dance as a universal language is a great way for my students to express their feelings and advocate for themselves. A parent of one of my students once thanked me because their child had never spoken at the dinner table until taking my class. Growing up in Minneapolis and attending public schools in Minneapolis, I remember having teachers that reflected my diversity. But now, as a teacher myself in Minneapolis, I notice a drastic contrast. Not just in the other districts I've worked in the past 5 years, but my current location as well, where I'm the only teacher of color at my high school, with 68% of our student demographic identifying in a category of color. I was fortunate to receive the student teacher grant in fall of 2020 because without it, I would have stopped being a teacher altogether. The grant allowed me to focus on the students I was teaching and the program I was attending. When I was a student teaching, schools were still teaching remotely and had hybrid options. I remember while in grad school learning about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a theory of maintaining one's human basic needs in order to achieve self-actualization. This is a philosophy that we are encouraged to implement in our classrooms and curriculum. However, I thought to myself when trying to make ends meet for my own household that I would not be able to student teach and complete my program because I wouldn't be able to take care of my own basic needs. Thankfully, the student teacher grant offered financial support and assisted me in the basic needs that I have continued to teach and finish my program. We all have basic needs, and that need never stops regardless of what stage of life we are in. Please support the proposals in this bill to increase financial support for student teachers and aspiring teacher candidates so our students and communities have teachers who reflect their diversity. Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Next, we'll have Mr. Duran Enriquez. Please identify yourself for the record and you can begin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Francisco Duran Enriquez, and I am a current grad student at the University of Minnesota in Twin Cities. I am in my last semester, which means I'm also student teaching. I am going into teaching for ESL, and it's very exciting. I am the first person in my family to attend graduate school, and it makes both my family and I very happy. Both my parents did not attend college and have worked extremely hard and sacrificed so much in order to raise 3 boys. As I was growing up, I remember my parents telling both my brothers and I that nothing will ever come easy in life. And as a kid, I didn't really take that seriously. And at some point, I thought they were joking. And it wasn't until my senior year in high school when I started applying for colleges and looking at the cost of tuition, which was extremely high, that made me realize that they were right. On top of that, being a dreamer, or in other words, a DACA recipient, meant I didn't qualify for federal aid nor any sort of loans. So I made the decision of working full-time and attending college full-time, which meant 40 hours of work and additional 40 to 60 hours of coursework throughout my 4 years. At that time came a lot of stress, tears, and a lot of uncertainty. As I mentioned earlier, I am one of many students at the University of Minnesota who are very appreciative about the grant support to become teachers. Grants from the state gave me the opportunity to go back to school and fulfill one of my dreams, which is to become a teacher. Thanks to this grant, I am a current first-year ESL teacher at Coon Rapids Middle School while I complete my licensure program in May. Being a teacher has many challenges alone, and being a student and a teacher at the same time is even more challenging. I love what I do, and I enjoy all of my wonderful students. Many things inspired me to become a teacher. The first one is I am able to make a difference in these students' lives. I know that some of my students come from broken homes, and I want to make sure that they feel comfortable and safe in my classroom and in the school. Another reason is what I want to help make my students succeed, and it's help them achieve their goals. Again, I just want to thank you for everything that you have done to support teachers of color fulfill their dreams and becoming teachers, and pass this bill to make sure many more people like me can be supported financially and become teachers. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Ms. Elfrida. Please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Elvira Elfrida, and I am currently a resident teacher at St. Paul Central High School, seeking special education licensure through the University of St. Thomas. The student teacher grant has been very important for me to complete my program and cover some living expenses to avoid more debts. Covering living expenses was significant because I just relocated to Minnesota in summer 2021 to start the St. Paul Urban Teacher Residency or SUTR program. This grant also support me where I can just focus on my studying and my teacher residency without worrying about securing other debts, which lead to the idea of finding other jobs so I can pay my debts. This means that my chances of being successful in completing this program are greatly possible. Also, as a single parent with this grant, it gave me more quality time to spend with my children rather than having to work other jobs. Thank you. The reason why I want to be a teacher is because I always have a passion for working with children, and being a teacher is the ultimate way of working with children. As a woman of color, I didn't see many teachers that looks like me and talk like me when I came to this country. Also, I noticed that in the special education classes in school, most of the students are BIPOC people, which I think it's more biased because they don't act and talk like their white peers, and white teachers often struggle to relate to them. As I worked through my teacher preparation program, I realized that we need more teachers that represent our students so we can understand and connect with them in many different aspects, such as culture, language, background, and many more also believe in their capability. Just like veteran educator Rita Pearson said, every kid needs a champion. And I want to be that champion and be a role model for them to empower them to reach their full potential. Thank you for your support of this bill so that more BIPOC teacher candidates can get the financial support they need to complete their preparation program. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Ms. Garraway. Please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony. Oh.
My name is Jessica Garraway, and I have just earned my social studies teaching licensure through Metro State University after student teaching this past fall with the support of a student teaching grant. As a young student, I did not receive my first teacher of color until I was a freshman in high school. This teacher had a profound effect on my self-image. She was funny, brilliant, and intelligent. She saw greatness in me that I was too self-conscious to see in myself. Seeing her in such a position sent the message to me that I too could be and already was all these things. These characteristics did not just belong to white men and women who dominated the profession and still do to this day. As a child, I was also denied access to talented and gifted programs despite testing above the 90th percentile in reading and writing. My misbehavior was the reason, according to the white elementary teacher that ran the program. It wasn't until I had a teacher with children of color of her own that I was recommended for talented and gifted classes. I am certain that if I would have had teachers of color at an earlier age, that I would have been provided educational opportunities appropriate for my academic needs at an earlier age. When I was a secondary school student, I often lacked
Well,
Uh-oh. we gonna get the, able
Sorry.
to get the rest of it?
Yeah, I'm sorry. For some
Okay.
reason that cut out.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on. Before we go to you, Mr. Spies, I want to give a special thank you to all of our testifiers, to thank them for sharing their stories. That it means a lot to the committee, and it really helps us to get that grasp and the understanding how this can help them. So with that, Mr. Spies, please identify yourself and you can begin your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members, and thank you, Chair Tomasoni, for willingness to hear this bill. And I was very inspired by the almanac at the Capitol story the other week about you and your legacy. We are here to talk about the Increased Teacher of Color Act. I'm going to share my screen with a presentation here. And what I'd like to do is start off by telling you that the Increased Teacher of Color Act, the higher ed version, is a companion with the E12 version. And both of these packages, bill packages, are meant to attract and prepare more teachers of color, increase their program completion, and increase their retention so that we have more teachers of color, a higher percentage in our schools. Right now, we only have 7% teachers of color in the whole state, in contrast to 38% students of color in the state. And in many districts, that gap is much, much wider between students and their teachers. And as you know, we have some of the worst opportunity and achievement gaps in the country. And the severe shortage of BIPOC teachers is one of the causes of those gaps. I want to let you know that a 1% point increase in BIPOC teachers would require a net gain of 630 new BIPOC teachers in the profession. And that our current higher ed appropriation for the grants and scholarships that you're considering today can only support a maximum of 129 student teachers if they received full grants. We have 5 main strategies with our bills, and this bill, Senate File 3714, addresses the need to provide scholarship incentives and student teaching stipends. So in 2016, the legislature said that students should have equitable access to effective and diverse teachers who reflect their diversity in the schools. We don't have that yet. We're making slow progress, but it's not nearly enough to keep up with student diversity, which increases about 1% a year. So right now we have 489 BIPOC student teachers this academic year, and that's up from 244 BIPOC teacher candidates who completed programs just 2 years ago. But if students had equitable access to BIPOC teachers, there would be 22,000 BIPOC teachers in Minnesota today. Instead, there's only fewer than 3,000. There are a lot of benefits from the Increased Teacher of Color Act. Many are very much of interest, I know, to this committee, such as increasing college admission, increasing the higher education attainment and the state goal around attainment, increasing opportunity, increasing jobs and workforce development, increasing BIPOC teachers in the state will do these things, plus reduce opportunity gaps, reduce achievement gaps, reduce college debt, reduce the overall teacher shortage. Last session, $2.4 million was appropriated for fiscal 22, and then the same for fiscal 23. That was only 15% of what we said was needed to start moving the needle. We had proposed in last year's Increased Teacher of Color Act that was heard $17.4 million. So this year, there were in fiscal 22, 176 rather, applicants for the student teacher grants, underrepresented student teacher grants. There were 139 awards given with the available appropriation. And that fell short of, if 176 candidates did receive the money, that would have been $1.3 million. However, I remind you of the fact that I said before, there were 489 student teachers in the state this year. It's only 36% who actually applied, were aware of this money and applied. And if they had all 489 had applied and received grants, it would have been $3.667 million. So what we're seeking in this bill is an increase in the student teacher grant for underrepresented student teachers by $1.5 million and an increase for the Aspiring Minnesota Educators of Color Scholarship Program of $8.5 million. That scholarship program, that pilot scholarship program, the funds can be used according to session law last year until June 30th, 2025. And the outcomes we're seeking through these additional scholarships and grants is 200 additional BIPOC student teachers getting supported and 825 BIPOC teacher candidates getting supported. We can do this, senators. We need to do this. Just this $10 million in extra investments is less than 1/10 of 1 cent of every dollar projected state surplus. We know there's a lot of demands for your attention and time and appropriation, but we think this is an investment that has a lot of ripple effects, not only through education, but the economy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Ms. Mogelson. Please identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Laura Mogelson, and I am here from the Minnesota Association of Colleges of Teacher Education, otherwise known as MACTE. We strongly support the Increased Teachers of Color Act and specifically the legislation that we're talking about today around grants for underrepresented student teachers and the Aspiring Teachers of Color Scholarship pilot program that are in Senate File 3714. So I've been in this work for quite a long time and know that two of the biggest barriers to becoming a teacher are the program cost and then losing income during the student teaching period. As you heard from the testifiers, people enter the teaching field because they care deeply about children, about making the world a better place. They care about youth, they care about their communities, they care about educating children. They're worried about debt, and often people are discouraged from entering the teaching profession because of the real financial burden. Research shows that over half of educators have significant loan debt, and that Black educators have significantly more student loan debt than white educators. So think about people who already have a bachelor's degree. So they might have debt already from their undergrad degree. And as you probably know, in Minnesota, we have pathways for people to enter the field as undergrads and also as post-baccalaureate or as graduate students. So if you're a graduate student and you already have undergraduate degree, and let's say psychology or youth studies, and you want to become an elementary school teacher, or you had a chemistry degree and you want to become a secondary science teacher, you might already have significant undergrad debt and you're concerned about taking on more. And so these programs that are proposed in this bill can help to alleviate that concern around taking on more debt. The student teaching grant, the grants for underrepresented student teachers, is really, really key in removing the barrier that is in place for people to complete their programs, because sometimes people will go as far as student teaching, make all that investment in their time and their money, and then not complete because of the financial burden of student teaching. It's a minimum of 12 weeks in our state. Some programs require more. And 12 weeks, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be a lot. It's 3 months of rent and bills. It's time when you're not working your job. You heard from one of our testifiers about working while you're in school, and sometimes you just can't do that because you're required to do this student teaching. And people are hesitant to take on more loans on top of loans they already have. Often new teachers with student loan debt take 15 to 20 years as new teachers new in their field to pay off that debt. I don't think that's what we want for our teachers, and it's not going to help us to increase teachers of color or Indigenous teachers in Minnesota. So that's why this legislation is so important, because it can help to remove that financial burden and have a direct impact on all of these individuals, fixing our systemic shortages in the state of Minnesota and help Minnesota. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Chair and members of the committee.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, are there any questions for any of the testifiers or any comments anyone would like to make at this time? I'm not seeing any. I guess we'll conclude on this one. Again, I think we have a lot of support. What struck me is last year when this came forward and with this proposal, you know, I think many of us can relate to the idea that when you feel comfortable with a teacher, you're far more willing to engage and you find hope in where the education is going to take you. And I think we have all seen what in many areas here at the legislature, whether it is in law enforcement, nursing, we have great shortages in people of color in those professions, but especially in our schools. If our young people can relate to a teacher, find that hope, I think they're going to do far, far better in school. So thank you so much again to all of our testifiers today. We really appreciate your stories. Again, it really helps us to relate to your situation and to help us understand how we can help you here at the legislature. So with that, we are going to lay Senate File 3714 over for possible inclusion in an omnibus bill. That concludes our agenda for today, members, and so we will stand adjourned.